Hello, everyone. Welcome to Latino Free Minds again here. Um, Welcome to episode 101. We passed the century mark, Christian.
I know,
So,
man. We're in the game now.
yeah, it's pretty historic. We hit episode 100, and on episode 101, Daniel is not with us right now because his daughter was born, third daughter, Lily.
Wow.
Welcome, a little angel into this world. Um, you know, um, Everything went as planned, no complications. Healthy baby was born. I think she was 7 pounds 2 ounces. So I just want to say, love you, Lily. Welcome to the family.
Shout out Lily. Danny, you have a couple kids, huh? Does it
Yeah.
does it does it ever not get not scary? Double, triple negative? Does it ever because you're saying how, everything came out great.
hmm Uh,
But just what about that scaredness, you know?
like during the labor,
No, not
or
during labor, just her carrying the baby. I can't imagine looking at my wife and like I don't want to put it in a little glass case, you know? At
yeah,
least her belly.
you know, guys with their girlfriend or wife or whatever it is nowadays. Um, when they're pregnant, you're as it is, even if they're not pregnant, you're pretty defensive, towards them. With anybody looks at them, sideways or anything like that, or raises their voice at them, you got
Yeah, yeah.
real defensive, because they got a bun in the oven, and you become hyper defensive, I think. And yes, you do worry a lot more. You know, you it's almost like if they're gonna fall, you're before you're like, "Oh, are you okay?" And now it's like, "Oh, you got to be careful," and you got to take care of yourself and stuff like that. So the worry does start right away. I'll be honest with you. And then it doesn't stop as you get closer and closer to the due date. They get more uncomfortable. You could see, them getting tired. It's weighing on them. Um, just them, being so uncomfortable. You There's a lot of guilt, as they're going through this. They're going through making a baby, man. If you
Yeah,
think
yeah,
about
yeah,
it,
yeah. The
it's
ultimate.
um
Guys can't do it. Just in case some of
no.
you guys were wondering, we can't.
So Trump was right. There is only two genders. So the
Turns
one
out
of
there's
us,
only 2.
only one gender can do that. I don't care what you say.
Hey, man. He's got
And
a good biologist over there.
mhm, it's common sense. And yeah, it's special. It's a miracle. And then I could tell you, I could tell you from three different perspectives when your girlfriend or wife is having a baby. If you're as young as I was, you're in shock the first time around, um, and then the second time around, you're more present, you're more alert, you're more aware, um, um, and then as a dad, um, the worry is just killing you. Um, when my daughter was having her first baby, I could remember people were trying to make small talk in the waiting room and stuff like that. And I was getting really irritated because, I was worried and I was like, hey, I'm worried about my daughter. She's having a baby. I'm hoping everything's going okay. There's no complications. She's in pain. Is she going to be okay? Um, so yeah, it's a
And you
lot.
guys just chit-chatted. Go
Yeah,
take
and
care of
they're
my
over
wife.
there chit chat in the waiting room. So I actually had to walk away,
Oh, man.
because I wasn't in the delivery room, of course. And as a brother, you always worry.
Oh, no,
You know,
right?
it's kind of like the same worry. Um, so yeah, it's crazy, man. But I'll never forget um, when they were having Isabel, and my sister came to me and she's like, "I'm worried about having a baby," and I'm like, "What do you mean?" And she's like, "Well, bringing a baby, another human being into this world."
Mhm.
And that kinda hit me pretty hard because I could tell that she's really concerned and worried, and I was trying to find the right words because I knew that what was happening is special and she shouldn't have to feel that way, and, I don't know, it just came to me naturally, and I'm like, "Okay, well, let's take what you said, why don't you want to bring another human being into this world?" And then she goes, "Because there's so much, so many bad people in this world." And I
Mhm,
go, "Okay, so look at it this way. You're bringing in a good person into this world.
mhm,
And if you look at it that way, then it's like, oh yeah, then I am doing the right thing."
mhm.
So
Now she's got 3 good kids.
now she's added 3,
Yeah.
good.
She took that message to heart. I don't even
Yeah.
think Daniel knows that one.
I don't know,
No,
but
man. I only ask because, I saw, um, I have a little brother. I'm 23 years older than him. So I kinda
oh,
got to see my mom, you know, at an old age. She was maybe 42 or something like that. And I remember, like, how you described, seeing how they get eager is almost not the word, but discomfort is in there somewhere. And towards the end, I remember just seeing, how my mom would, how she would start nesting.
mm,
Kind of instincts take over, and they start. She started getting her bed ready. Started, almost a week, 2 weeks before. Like just instinct hit her, and um, yeah, it's something crazy where just instincts take over, and I think that's a God-given gift to have those type of instincts, because that's not something you could grab. It's not something you can. But she was already making a nest for for a little newborn, and this is 23 years after I was born. So, it's crazy. It's crazy.
yeah, you hear a lot of stories about women that are older and they start getting, when I say older, past their 30s and stuff like that, because for whatever reason, they're chasing their career, the things that they want to do
Mhm,
in their 20s, and they could say that they're okay, you know, maybe being single or married but with no kids, or single with no kids and stuff like that. But that instinct that you're talking about, that internal clock
mhm,
that's running, and it's almost like a necessity, a need, a urge,
mhm,
um, that comes natural, to want to be a mother, to want to be a parent, or to want to be a father,
yeah,
and you can't fight those things. You
no,
know, I someone once told me this, is that okay? So when you're in your 20s, you wouldn't do things that you did in your when you were in your teens. When
mhm,
you're 30, you wouldn't do things that you would have done in your 20s, and when you're 40, you wouldn't have done things that you're in your 30s, and so forth and so forth and so forth. And that's like the evolution of a person, the maturity, the things that they go
mhm,
through in life and stuff like that. And
yeah,
it's kind of crazy that we're talking about this because that's kind of what happens with, maybe political views, maybe spiritual views,
mhm,
especially spiritual, I think,
mhm.
because you know expecting, especially for a woman, how connected do you think
Literally.
you get, when you're there expecting, when you're creating life out of nowhere in your womb.
As guys, we're just in the on the side, like in your stomach. Okay. Yeah, man, I can't imagine.
So you know um it kind of brings me to think about, all these I don't know, unfortunate young ladies that use, like abortion or Plan B and things like that as a contraceptive.
Mhm.
You know, they call it, what do they call, a
Plan B.
woman's right? But
The old switcheroony. Yeah, man, you see it, and it's one of the tools that they love to again, it's always verbiage, it's "you're right," right? But at the same time, who benefits? Who benefits off of that abortion? Who benefits from you being on hormones your whole life that you're not supposed to have? I all those contraceptives really mess these women up. Not
Mhm.
eating messes these women up. So they're very delicate. And again, they're so delicate. You gotta look at every woman like a flower, and we're here to protect them, brother. And it's we both lost our roles. We both It feels like the younger generations have lost that, right?
But you know
It's
what?
too
They still have that urge. They still have that urge because that natural instinct is in there.
that
And
instinct.
they're conflicted, whether they want to admit it or not. You talk to young people and stuff like
Mhm.
that, or you hear stories, like now women, when they get into their 40s, they have regrets and they start verbalizing them. They start
Right.
expressing those regrets
Hmm.
and stuff like that. And it's because it's a natural instinct. Just think about this. I just learned this last week. So when a woman is breastfeeding and the child gets sick, you know the
Hmm.
the woman's hormones that's producing the milk produces certain nutrients, or I don't know what you would call them, in the
Yeah.
milk, so that it helps the baby. And it actually, from what I was told, it gives it like a light green hue or a green hue to the milk.
Hmm.
But if you really think about that, i- it's, not to keep going back to the miracle thing, but you know it really is, what the human body does.
Yeah.
And then they want to, people want to be atheists and think that, a god doesn't
They
exist.
want to separate it, right? But it's something about the instinct we're talking about, where we can see that's by design. That's by design, and there's nothing you could replicate in a lab. Go ahead. They try and separate, the mother, and they made formula, and that works for some kids. But it shouldn't be, the end all be all, because some don't even try.
Yeah.
And again, but yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. Hey,
It's a beautiful thing.
you want to hear a good joke? Um, I don't know. I'm gonna mess up the joke because I'm horrible at telling jokes. But um, a guy told me this one, and it was about God was talking to a scientist, right?
Hmm.
And the scientist was like, "I can create a human just like you can." And God goes, "Okay, well, I'll create one, and then you create one." And then they go, "Okay." They made a deal. So God rolls up his sleeves, bends down, picks up some dirt, and then he creates the human, right?
Hmm.
And then it's the scientist's turn. So he rolls up his sleeves and then grabs some dirt, and God goes, "Whoa, whoa, whoa, whoa! You get your own dirt, because
Oh.
God is the one that created, the
Hmm.
dirt."
Hmm.
And I was like, "Oh shit, that's pretty good."
Yeah.
So
I was waiting for, yeah. It's all his design, right? And that's what we're made out of, the dirt, and that's what we'll return, the dirt from all these years of working, right? So, oh man, yeah, I do think it's all by design. You know,
yeah, it's crazy.
again, when we're talking about instinct, I saw a video maybe like 2 weeks ago, and it was, I think, a family had just adopted a beaver. And I'm not comparing. I didn't want to say it earlier, compare women to beavers, but I saw the video. It was a beaver running around a nice house, right? And out of nowhere, this beaver has been with this family the entire time. Doesn't know nothing about a lake. Doesn't know nothing about the wild. And by itself, inside the house, and you've probably seen the video, it started to dam up. It was just
Really?
grabbing stuff from all over the place and just piling it up in front of the doorway and making a dam. I mean, talk about instinct. That's who showed him. You can't talk to him. You can't tell him. That's just in him. You know, the same way where we look at a guy dressed in girls' clothes and we go, mm-mm, mm-mm.
That's not natural, bro.
You don't see those lines naturally in nature. There's no right angles in nature.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
had
man.
someone told okay, so a duck hunter told me this one right here. So he was kind of explaining, how duck hunting goes and stuff like that.
Mhm,
And I go, "Hey, so and of course it's seasons, right? But they always kind of they go to the same places year after year after year, generations after generations after generations. So I go, so how do they know where to go and where they land and stuff like that? And he goes, it's imprinted in their genes. So if you know there's generations of this duck that lands in this specific area geographically, the eggs that they produce and the ducklings and all that stuff, no matter where they're hatched or anything like that, instinctively they're going to follow the same path.
mm, it's
And
crazy.
it's crazy how nature works,
To come back home.
yeah.
Yeah,
And they
yeah.
don't even know why. It's kind of like what your thing with the beaver.
Mm-hmm. No, well, Danny, sometimes I think like SpaceX, right? Mars. I'm almost, weary about that. It doesn't say nothing about Mars in the Bible, or that I've read. I don't know. Have you about being interstellar? So it's like
Mm-mm.
that. It's kind of a little weird to me, because the Garden of Eden was here. That's where we're trying to get to, the Garden of Eden. Um, but um, I just I don't know. I don't think we're supposed to ask so many of these crazy questions. You know, I think life. I mean, it says it there: be fruitful, and it almost says have fun.
Mhm.
With the people around you, and be grateful to God.
Yeah.
But the more questions we ask, the less answers we get. So it's the same thing as when they try and break down the Bible and they say, oh well, maybe when the Exodus happened and they're leaving Egypt and they walked through, it turns out it was only 2 feet of water or something like that. And it's they really try and break down the details and things. But I really do think, as I get older, as some of these things we're not supposed to have the answers to you know
Well, to the point that you're making right now, I agree with you. We've been told about ozone layers, we've been told about Milky Way's galaxies and all this other stuff and going to Mars and all this other stuff. So some have, conspiracy theories that all of that money is just being taken away from us and really not being put to use in what they're telling us
hmm
that it's being put to use. NASA, supposedly we went to the moon, but we haven't gotten back. The technology's gotten better, but we haven't
Our
gotten
phones are
back.
smarter than that than the computer they had to get up there.
Yeah. So now what Elon is supposed to go rescue a couple people from
Are they
the
still
space.
up there, Danny?
I didn't even know about that until they shared it in the group
I forgot
chat.
about them. No,
I
no.
don't know, but Elon's supposed to go over there and save him. But the whole Mars thing. I personally don't believe that we can do that. I don't even know if we, can exit this, atmosphere. Have you seen like when rockets go out up to a certain point and there seems to be like a wave that it creates? It's like it's been all over the internet.
Mm.
It's almost like it hit something and it can't go past that barrier and it's
The
causing like
firmament.
yeah.
Yeah, man.
But
It's
I mean, no one knows. I mean, we could make fun.
hmm
Um And we could say, oh, these guys don't believe in the science, but okay, so we're going to believe in the science that Fauci was telling us. We're going to believe in all the science, the real science that, they've been telling
Mhm.
us. You know,
Mhm.
RFK is, getting grilled right now for his confirmation.
Let me
And
cut you off, Danny. Maggie Hassan, get out of here. Get out of here. She was one of the main ones talking about the vac. Oh, well, what makes you a conspiracy theorist? My dad was a pediatrics and my get out of here. Get out of here. A senator, Maggie Hassan.
yeah. And he's talking about, real science, and he's actually trying to spit, factual information. And that's what he's advocating for, is just to have real science, have all the data in front of us. You I think we talked about it a little bit on the last episode, is that they put things in front of us and they want us to believe it, well, without looking into it, right?
Mhm.
And it's like, you want to know what's in this bill, you got to pass it in order to be able to read it. And that's what they're trying to get us accustomed to. And what the other thing they're trying to get us accustomed to is to have dogma, like a dogma type of belief in what they say. They
Mhm.
don't they don't believe in Jesus Christ, in the in the dogmas of Christianity,
Mhm.
but it takes more faith to believe in the dogmas and the things that they want us to believe on their side, that their real science can't even support.
Mhm. Yeah.
So,
But trust the science, brother.
yeah.
Don't take my word for it or the senators. Take Fauci's word. Yeah, man, it's crazy. I was watching them while they were grilling RFK, and uh, he said the ship is sinking, man. He said 60% increase in Medicaid in the past 4 years, right? And people think he's talking about the insurances and all that when he says that 60% increase in Medicaid in the past 4 years. To me, that says the people are sick if 60% has gone up. And not only sick, but they're not taking care of themselves. And it's the lower class, the ones that can consume all the red dye 40, Not trying to be a class guy or anything, but who's the one eating hot Cheetos, right? He
Takis.
says the good stuff. The blue, now they're in blue. Um, the highest death count in any country in the world. But whether you believe it or not, they did fluctuate the numbers during COVID, and they again we were talking about a little earlier, fear mongering. They use that clicker counter, in any moment that they could. But along with that counter, it didn't say that the average person who died of COVID in America had 3.8 chronic diseases, comorbidities. So I can't imagine, um, what I'm Mexican, so I'm susceptible to diabetes. After that, I don't know, man. You're telling me there's 2.8 more chronic diseases I might get because I'm
Well,
American?
take a look at this. I feel like I've tried to take care of myself in my adulthood, right? And
Let me be clear, the adulthood.
hmm?
To be clear, the adulthood.
Well, yeah, I mean, when you're a teenager,
Oh
you
no,
just you
yeah,
just
shit.
you just do whatever. Your body's young enough that it could,
Got
you could
metabolism
eat as much red dye 40 or hot
from
Cheetos
the
as
barrel
Takis or
itself.
whatever. You can drink a 12 pack of Pepsi and it's all
Mm-hmm.
good, but you start feeling it, when you start getting into adulthood.
Yeah.
Um, and um, I, I, s- I think when I was about 35 ish or something like that, I started getting a bald spot on my head. I started getting like little bumps under my skin and stuff like that. So I go to the doctor, and obviously, I want him to run some tests and figure out what's going on with me. So they do, and they told me blood work looks good, blood pressure looks good, everything came back good. And I go, okay, so what's going on with these bald spots that I'm getting on my head and these bumps? And the only thing that they could come back with is you have an autoimmune disorder. So, and I'm asking questions and I'm getting frustrated because
How
the
much time
doctor
do I
can't.
have left, doc?
Yeah, exactly. How much do I have to live? But he didn't have any answers. So I go, so you're telling me that you don't know? He's like, no, we don't know what is causing your autoimmune disorders, but you're just labeling it as autoimmune disorders. So to
Trust me.
answer your question, that's where the 2.8, or if we want to round up the 3, you
Hmm.
know, comes from.
Yeah.
Is that, like, they don't know.
And that answer is more. You get that more often than not.
Hmm.
I went into the doctors for a checkup maybe 2 years ago, and I told them, "Hey, man, um, my ankle. I got hurt. My ankle's a little messed up. Now I really can't use it the same." And they go, "Oh, you're getting old."
Hmm.
So, all right, I took it, right? And then I go, "Hey, my joints hurt a little bit, and it's in my left hand more so." And the doctor said, "Well, if it'd be on your left, it'd be on your right too." And I
So
was
you're lying. So you're a liar.
Brother, I was looking at my hands. I was like, "Whoa, I guess." But then, as soon as I got in the car, man, I put one hand on the steering wheel and the other one on my side. Clearly, they're not doing the same thing, right? So, like, but again, you always come up with the best comebacks when you're at home in bed at going to sleep. And I just, I had to change doctors, man. This guy, he ended up telling me that it was because I was carrying my phone. Maybe, right? But it's I don't know. He didn't ask me my family's history of arthritis. He didn't ask me about nothing. All he did was go on the little monitor he had, looked it up. Again, mind you, he was sitting down on a rolly chair with his knees down. Fucking like gay, dude, like gay. And I was just already not liking it, dude. Because I was like, oh, well, I have other concerns and all that. And I was like, well, can we get, can you check my diabetes? He wasn't telling me anything. If I would, I thought I was Brock Lesnar when I walked out. I thought that's how healthy I was. And this dude, he goes, oh, well, okay, well, let's do a STD, test for STDs. And it's like, doc, you're not listening to what I'm telling you. If you would have asked me, again, you question. I used to be surveys. I got a girlfriend. I've been with her for 9 years. I believe she's never cheated on me, and I've never cheated on her. So why on earth would I have to take a STD test? Tell me if I'm diabetic, dude. But again, it his his not goals. His motive isn't to make sure I'm healthy. It's making sure that I don't request the labs and all that. That's gonna make the insurance people pay, right? Again, to this day, 2 years later, I just gotta go back. I switched doctors, dude. I was not gonna go back. The reason why I got him was because it said, "Oh, I'm from the Bay Area," and I was like, "Oh, dude, me too." When you're picking your doctor, and turns out, yeah, I should have known, bro. As soon as it said I'm from the Bay,
You should have gotten one that says that
dude,
they're from the Central Valley. Come on now.
dude, dude, no, I should have got a nice little Indian lady, but I was worried about my girlfriend being jealous, so I went with the gay dude. I didn't know he was gay, guys. I didn't know he was gay at first, but I got out of there. I got out of there. So it's yeah, it feels like a hospital is just there to deal with what happens after the incident. There's no prerequisite, not prerequisite, but there's no uh,
Preemptive care.
preemptive care. Exactly. And that's all RFK is talking about. Preemptive care. When he talks about 60% increase in Medicaid, he's not talking about the money. Obviously, he's using that percentage, but he's talking about how many people are sick. Not only sick, how many people. Yeah. The strain that it's on the insurance system from being so sick. You know? It's the health system is something else. Yeah.
Well, the last time I went to the doctor, uh, the doctor got pissed off at me.
You told him
Uh,
you weren't a girl.
he asked me what my gender was, and I was like,
You
I
pulled
got
your pants
pissed
down.
off. Yeah, and I'm like, take a guess.
Take
No,
a
but
gander.
so I went in there, and it was like I just had turned 40, and I went for my
Damn.
checkups and stuff like that.
Just kidding.
Yep. And they I go in the waiting room, dude. I'm not lying to you. They forgot about me. So, you know,
As
and
they
and
do.
and and I went in there like during work, like in my lunchtime.
Hmm.
I'm not kidding. It was like 25 minutes. It was going on to 30 minutes. Left me in the room waiting. So,
Oh, you're in the room
you get a
waiting.
little, yeah, in the room waiting, not in the waiting room, dude. After they took my blood pressure and some vitals and stuff like
Hmm.
that, they take you to the room and stuff like that. So I was waiting for this doctor 25 minutes, 25 or 30 minutes, and I'm like, I hit the button on the wall, and they weren't, answering
The
on the
fire
button on
alarm.
the wall. I pull the red handle, no, and then so they weren't coming, and so I open up the damn door. I walk down the hallway, and I go to the little bullpen right there, and I'm like, I've been waiting there for 25 minutes, 30 minutes. No one's gonna see me. I'm leaving. Like,
Hmm.
I got to go back to work here pretty soon and stuff like that. And moral of the story is healthcare is not healthcare anymore.
Hmm.
We're just dollar signs, walking around.
Hmm.
Um, you know, them doing it for a passion, I question it.
Yep.
I know
Yep.
people become doctors, to earn a good living and stuff like that, but they take an oath, to take care of people and
Hmm.
stuff like that. And it really doesn't seem like, they take that oath very serious.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
I get it. Maybe they're being asked to do a bunch of other things that they really can't be doctors anymore. I don't know. Maybe it's not
Hmm.
their fault, but you know what? The system is broken. I can tell you that right now.
It's definitely broken, especially when, like you said, right? Are they passionate, or are they worried that they're gonna get defunded by that crook Fauci, right? They're not gonna get their money to get their studies or whatever. It's it's like blackmail almost, you know.
Yeah,
I
they got
mean,
their hands tied.
again, RFK was talking about the people. Not only were the people that were injured by the vaccines, but the doctors that noticed it before the patient. They weren't. They were encouraged to not even report,
Yeah.
right? So it's that's that's breaking your oath, bro. That's got to be breaking your oath.
Yeah.
You
So
know.
what was the last thing that you heard? Last night I heard that they think that they already had the votes to confirm him before he went in today. So have you heard anything?
I haven't heard anything. I was trying to look today, like a little earlier, but I really do hope so, man. And but I'm seeing a lot of people. A lot of people are jumping on with RFK, and they want him. You
Mm.
know, I'm seeing a lot of people say, if we don't get RFK, I'm gonna make. And these are millionaires. Millionaires. They're like, if we don't get him through, I'm gonna find out who didn't vote for him, and I'm gonna fund opposition to run against you 100%. You
Really?
know, I saw that yesterday. I forget, but
Like
it was
like
it was a
who? Or
oh man, it was a millionaire's wife, and
mm,
she was talking like, my husband. Man, I just can't put a name on it, but I'm pretty sure that you would know who they are.
yeah,
But
yeah, yeah.
she was like, "Look, my husband." She named him Tom. I don't remember, man. She said he's
Bill
gonna play
Gates?
nice. I know, no, definitely not Bill Gates. And he's like, he's gonna play nice with all of you guys, but I'm
Yeah.
not. And so it's last time I checked. Yeah, my girlfriend tells me what to do sometimes, so they know how they're good with money. So no, I'm kidding, but yeah, I don't know. I really do hope they're able to get him in. You know, It's his broad picture is the chronic issue,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
What's making us so unhealthy? It's the
yeah.
food. It's all that stuff. Going back to the baby births and everything. I was talking to my fiance now, and she's really like really. They call it crunchy. So she's really organic.
Mm.
She was a vegan when I found her. I changed that, guys. I gave her a steak right away. But she's still kind of. She's always telling me about certain toothpaste to eat, to use, and stuff. Not eat, use. You know. And one of the things she's always said is she's always wanted a pool. Is it pool birth? Like when you have the birth in the pool,
Oh yeah, 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 yeah,
and she
yeah.
wants me in there, and I go, no, man, I don't want. I don't want to be in there. That was something else I was gonna ask you. Like, where were you standing when it happened, right? But she's like, oh, I want you in there. But as of late, I've been able to come up with the excuse of, hey, babe, there's fluoride in that water, babe. How are we gonna bring a baby right
Hey,
into the
you
fluoride?
remember you said there's fluoride in the water?
Exactly, and I'm joking about it, but
But it's real.
oh my goodness, it is true. Where would I get the pie from the tub unless I go get distilled water? But where that water's been in the plastic bucket for,
Go
dude,
get it
there's
from
no
Alviso.
Nestle. Maybe Nestle could hook me up. Yeah, dude. So yeah, man, we can't escape it. It's crazy.
Wow. Yeah.
So, but yeah, man, it's something else. It's something else.
Yeah, no, I hope he gets in there quickly. I think like I was telling you guys earlier, I think they're gonna be able to hit the ground running with that whole Maha thing.
Hmm.
Um, I'm really excited for that.
I'm
So
so excited. Yep.
yeah, hopefully they go to vote here pretty soon and just get to work.
Hmm.
But what do you what do you think about this whole AI race? I'm sure you heard about this new AI that China
Hmm.
presented and stuff like that that cost very little to make, and they could get it done pretty quickly.
Hmm.
So
I think Trump was asking or saying that he was going to drop 500 million into Sam Altman's OpenAI, I think. So, but hearing that, I heard DeepSeek is the Chinese one.
yeah, yeah,
Um, that was 5.2 million. Cost 5.2 million, but a lot of stuff that they do, and but the other thing is, I think we were limiting how many semiconductors or what type of semiconductors China was able to get. But the whole thing about it is, I think DeepSeek was cheaper, cost less, and they didn't use any of those good semiconductors. So we're dropping 500 million into RAI, and they only spent this for 5.2 or something like that. It is a little scary. It cost Nvidia. Nvidia is the one that makes those chips. Pretty much, they lost 17 trillion in one day. I
yeah,
believe it was trillion. It was something like that, right? So if China's got the first AI, that is a little crazy. But I don't know. That AI stuff scares the hell out of me, dude.
yeah. My biggest fear is waiting for the other shoe to drop. And what I mean by that is that we've talked about it before in the podcast, is that we know that before Trump, the left and the right were the same snake, with two
Mhm,
heads. They were just playing us back and forth, from Bush to Clinton to
mhm,
Bush to Obama and stuff like that. So they've just been manipulating us, right? Making us think that they're two separate parties, but it's a uniparty, right?
mhm,
Um, so with Trump coming out, he looks like he's opposition, and we're aligned with what he's saying and doing and stuff like that.
mhm,
But when I say I'm waiting for the other shoe to drop, is I don't know, is he here to usher us into something like, you know, a different currency, like a, you
Crypto.
know, cryptocurrency.
Mhm.
That's scary as hell. But
Mhm.
everybody keeps saying that that's the future, and we just have to accept it.
Mhm.
And then the other thing too is now there's a lot of talk about AI. There's been talk about it in the past, but it just seems like it's moving at a speed where it's scary, like you said.
Yeah.
And
It's
now,
getting smarter.
yeah, and now with these robots, that someone told me that when Tesla had that exhibition and they showed the selfless, self-driving taxis, the robots, and all this other stuff, and I think he even went on a date with one of his robots or something stupid like that. Um, it seems like, they're getting us ready for this new AI era coming in.
Mhm.
Um, but someone did tell me that they're really far away from that technology. Um, but I don't know. I don't know what to think. I don't know enough about that subject to know how close we are to the point where it gets scary, where we're gonna have robots, walking around in our houses or in the
Mhm.
stores and shit like that. But
Mhm.
I don't know. What do you think about that?
I think I think it's that same beast. It's that same beast that put the kiosks in the McDonald's and now they only have one cashier, right? It's people. I don't know if you've seen a graph, Danny. There's a graph going around that's making liberals really upset, and it shows kind of the Republican Party and then the Democratic Party and what they care about the most. Have you
Mhm.
seen that one?
Mm-mm.
At
What?
the center, it's really hot. It's red. It's glowing red, and the center it means care for humans, right? And on the farther end of that spectrum is rocks. In the center is humans. At the end
Mhm.
is rocks, animals, and everything in between. As the farther you go out, and that graph shows that Republicans. I'm not giving any credit or taking any credit from Republicans or Democrats. But that the Republicans care more about people. Their focus is more on actual people. And when you look
Mm.
at the Democratic side of the graph, they're worried about the smelt. They're worried about the rocks. They're worried about, other stuff. And it's just killing at them, so it's
But why is it bothering them? Is it true, or
because it's
they
true.
don't like
It
it?
it shows what PETA, they take care of the animals. I wish I could find that graph. I'll send the graph in the group chat, or maybe Daniel can add this later to in front of the picture. But it's literally Republicans care about the actual humans, and the red hotspot for the Democrats is on the rocks, way farther out there. So it's just yeah, it's just who's going for what, and I don't know.
Yeah,
I
I'm
do.
looking at one of the charts right now, and I see it. It's like, one red circle, one blue circle, and in the middle, it probably has what both sides agree on, or something like that, or what?
No, it was they both had their own little heat signature, like on the same graph
Mm,
though. And it was just like the red hot spot where they cared about the most was like over rocks and animals and amoebas, and like Republicans were more interested in it's two circles next to each other, not really like touching or anything, but I'll find it. But
gotcha.
yeah, it's crazy to see where the priorities are, you know.
Well, you know what? Now that Trump won, right,
Hmm.
and the Democrats are trying to figure out why they lost, they keep talking about racism and
They don't learn. They don't get it.
yeah, I can't find that chart. But anyways, um, they're they keep talking about the same things, and it seems like they can't figure out, they can't understand why they lost, right? And they keep asking, you know, people other than your everyday citizen. Like, if they go to like a man on the street type of setup and they ask him, you know, where did, Democratic Party lose you, type of thing. Or why did you vote Republican if you voted Republican or something like that. I feel like if they actually did that rather than talking about it amongst themselves, people that are more than likely very, very wealthy. And on top of it, they're not Latino, they're not from a country from, Latin America or anything like that. But they're speaking, it's almost like they're speaking for us. And that's the freaking problem, is that they try to speak for us and they assume that we care about their identity politics, and they're just not getting it.
And I don't think they will get it, man. I think it's something where they're just trying to
Well,
go
here's the
against
thing.
the norms.
This is what I'm going to suggest, is that they act like they care, but they showing that they really don't care. The only thing that they care is about their agenda, because if they really did care, they would ask people, like everyday citizens, like I said, but they don't. They've gotten to a place where they're so disconnected. They're too far gone.
Yeah, yeah.
And I don't know. I mean, what is your opinion aside from what everybody is talking about? Like the cost of food, gas.
You
Um,
saw that one, Danny, where they're like, "It's been 5 days. It's
oh,
been a
the
week,
egg.
and eggs
Yeah,
hasn't dropped." It's
yeah.
like, bro, dude.
A gas dropped already, um, but what would it be for you? Like, aside from all the main talking points that everybody talks about.
That got me away from the left.
Yeah.
That keeps pushing me. It's just the lying. It's the blatant lies. And that, I mean, yeah, that is a whole spectrum, but it's the fact that you will see something and they go, "Oh, no, 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 no. What you saw was this."
Mhm.
And you're like, "Oh, okay." And again, you say, "Oh, okay," because who is it? It's the guy in the lab coat telling you. It's the guy that looks like a millionaire telling you so and so, or the science. Trust the science again. Those guys are human. They can mess up just like you and me. You know, they can have greed. They can have all these evil inside them that don't let them, like you said, keep their oath.
Yeah.
Right?
They could be corrupted, right?
Corrupted is the word. Right?
Mhm.
And it doesn't take much. Anybody can be corrupted. You're human. You know, pull. Give and take something from somebody, and it might make them jump. So
Yeah.
yeah,
No,
I just.
for me, it's very similar. We talked about it in the last episode 100, why we started the podcast. Manipulation. I saw the manipulation, man.
Mhm.
And this was right after 9/11. 9/11, and I was still skeptical, but year after year, event after event, it's almost like Neo in the Matrix. You know, you see what's in front of you, but after a while, you know what to look for. You start seeing the code
Mhm.
instead of seeing the images in front of you. You
Mhm.
start seeing that code, and then my attitude started changing rather than reacting, because that's where they had us, is when they would say something and we would just react to what they said, whether it was good or bad. But the main thing is that you reacted.
Mhm.
And I almost became not cold, but what's the word?
Jaded.
Hmm?
Jaded. It's not gonna surprise you anymore. You've been through 7 calamities and
Yeah, I think
catastrophes.
yeah, the proper word would be like, I don't know, non-reactive. It's like not affected at all by
Hmm.
things that are
Yeah,
said or
jaded. It
reported.
happened. You know, oh, okay.
Yeah. And then the question is more like, let me see the full clip, or let
Hmm.
me see the history
Hmm.
of this. And it's kind of like right now, the whole deportation thing, the border wall.
Hmm.
Um, you go back to, I don't know, 2012 or something like that, and you'll find clips of Hillary Clinton, Bill Clinton, Obama,
Hmm.
saying that we need to enforce border security, we need to deport, we need to hold them accountable, and stuff like that. So 2012, that was 13 years ago, right? So are they banking on people's short-term memories that we're not going to remember that that's what they said?
Hmm.
But you could pull that with a 20-year-old because they weren't paying attention to what was happening at that time.
Hmm.
But now you get to be my age a little bit and you start, remembering what, you know, Bill Clinton said and promised. And
Hmm.
then, the second Bush Jr., and then Obama,
Hmm.
and stuff like that. So you start seeing the manipulation, and like I said, you start seeing that code from the Matrix.
Right.
You
Yeah.
know,
Hey, Danny, I mean, a lot of people are talking about the deportations that are going on right now, right? Oh, these people are in a worry they might get taken. Uh, lately, I've been hearing about DACA, you know, and it's like, don't give us any of that, dude. Your boy Biden said in the first 100 days he would fix, not year, 100 days he would fix DACA. Now they're worried that these DACA guys are gonna go back to where they came from. No, no, no. You had your chance, man. You could have done something. Look at
yeah.
Trump. He's like you said, he hit the ground running, man. Did have you seen the money that he's found? That he's
I've heard reports, yeah, and the money that was about to be sent to
50
for the
million.
condoms.
50 million for condoms, bro, in Gaza.
That's money laundering, bro.
That's money laundering, dude. That's money
I mean,
laundering.
make it make sense. There,
It's not even
I
the
look.
other 35 million that they found.
What was the other 35 million
I
for?
think that was gonna go to who did we leave? The WEF? No.
Oh,
Uh
the who?
the WHO, yeah. It was gonna go to the I think I believe it was. I believe it was 35 million was gonna go to them. And yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I started telling you about TikTok. So
Mm-hmm.
was one of them, and she deleted the app, right, because it was gonna go away, or it went away. It
Mm-hmm.
came back, and a bunch of people waited to get the app back. So, anyways, she got the app back, and she got into like a weird, like the algorithm got reset or something like that,
Mm.
and she got into the fear mongering algorithm
Mm.
of TikTok, and she was just seeing
What the
Latinos,
fuck?
like, posting like, "Oh, yeah, a couple of farms went bankrupt because, the farmers left and, they're going back to Mexico. They're afraid to show up to work, in the Bay Area because of the ICE raids and stuff like that." And I'm like, "Damn, you're getting hit pretty hard with, those
Mm-hmm.
messages or however, TikTok works."
That propaganda arm, bro.
Man,
It reaches far.
it's nonstop, it's relentless.
Mm-hmm.
And it really talk about, pulling your heartstrings, it's they really try to get you. And then you get people in the media talking about, hey, there's real people out there that are really scared, kids are going to school crying because they don't know if they're going to get picked up by, immigration at school and all of this, or their parents are
Mm-hmm.
going to get picked up.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like
Damn.
you hear the stories, and it doesn't even make sense. You know, they want to report on some people that got picked up by ICE, but then they don't want to report that half of them had, you know, criminal records and stuff like that, or they were legit criminals. They had a record like in their country,
Mhm.
and it's like, so why don't you talk about those?
Yeah.
You know, and if you know, to the point that I was making to you earlier, if they really went and talked to the people on the streets, you would, you know, find people, Latinos, that go, hey, you know what? We understand, you know, what's going on in the border and we want it secured. You know, shit. We could potentially be victims of the bad people coming in right now
Mhm.
as Latinos. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? So, you know, Nick talked about it, you know, in the podcast that we had with him, you know, what they're finding down by the border, you know, where they're, you know, throwing away, they're getting rid of, you know, documentation and, you know, phones and stuff like that, and what they're finding in the phones. And ask a Latino. You know, I dare, you know, I was talking to my dad, and he's even going, you know, there's so many bad people coming through the border, blah, 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 and this and that. And I'm like, you know, I'm listening to him because I'm a good listener. I want to let him, you know, you know, get it off his chest. And if they just did that, we don't need, you know, a Caucasian person in the news speaking for us.
Mhm.
And that's why we don't listen to what they have to say anymore.
Mhm. Danny, I got family members, you know, they got their other lover is illegal, you know, they're worried about them. You know, and it's the usual, right? Fear mongering. They're scared. But if all these deportations were just Haitians, my family would be like, good, good. This is good. this is good. You know, it's always whenever it hits close to home, it's always gonna pull your heartstrings. You know,
Yeah.
I was watching is it press secretary? Is it the Trump's new press secretary?
Yeah.
When they asked her, they said, how many out of the 3,500 that you've deported, how many of them are actually criminals? Say, Danny, what did she say?
All of them are criminals. By definition, they committed a federal crime.
Danny, we had that conversation last week,
Yeah.
right? Where I was telling you, I even felt bad, where I'm just like, ooh, they're doing it, you know? But again, yeah, going back to all of them, all of
But
them.
was it you or was it Daniel that pointed out the fact that even back in the day, I do remember uncles and stuff like that that were like, hey, you know, si llega la mira, nos vamos a pelar, because they knew that it was illegal. It wasn't like,
Yeah.
oh, you know, la migra is coming and
Hmm.
I don't know why they're fucking with us, you know, type of thing. Like they have some sort of rights or something like
Yeah,
that. It's
yeah,
like,
why they're
no,
fucking with us.
yeah, it's like,
Hmm.
ahí viene la migra and why are they messing with us? It's like, no, they knew
I need a
that,
skedaddle.
yeah,
I'm
we
playing this
did
game,
something,
dude.
we did something illegal
Hmm.
and la migra is coming, so we gotta bounce.
Yeah.
So, and here's the other part, and people don't want to hear this, and we talked about this guilt that Mexican Americans have, or even Mexican that are now American citizens, right?
Hmm.
They've gone through the process. There is a guilt factor because back in the day, people came over and the majority were looking for the American dream and they knew that they had to work hard for the American dream.
Yes.
And you know, my mom just tell us stories about some people that they did know that came over at the same time that were taking advantage of the system.
Hmm.
That's always going to exist.
Right.
But the majority said, "I don't need your assistance. I'm gonna work hard. I'm gonna provide for my family, and I'm gonna prove it to you." And then they go through the court system and do their thing, right? But nowadays, what was that dude that was on Instagram? and he was probably on other social media platforms, but he was showing off that he had a kid, and that he was receiving a check and he had it made.
Oh, he's Venezuelan, no.
Was it?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
okay.
think he's like, no tienen que hacer nada, vos. Nomás llegan y ahí te dan un teléfono y ahí te la carta y vos.
That guy.
That
That
guy.
guy. So, that's the type of people
Hmm.
that the majority is coming over,
Hmm.
you know?
Yes,
And
yes. It's a
people.
different. It's a different crowd, almost.
Yes.
A
Yes.
100% different crowd from when you're talking about, right? When your dad was talking, or where you said, "We gotta fucking hide." They're ladrones now. I wish, I wish the ice would show up so I show them this, this heater or whatever. That's a different beast, dude.
Yeah.
Hmm.
As Latinos, we have to get rid of that guilt. And,
Hmm.
people have guilt of being successful and stuff like that, and like you if you work hard for it, you shouldn't have guilt. What you should do is influence and encourage other people to do it the right way too, so
Hmm.
that they can get to the point where other people have gotten. If you're doing better than others, not saying that you're super successful or wealthy
Hmm.
or anything like that, but if you're doing better, be a good influence,
Hmm.
and help other people that way.
Yeah. No, and you talk about the heartstrings, and I think the biggest heartstring when you talk about Mexicans, or no, I'll say Mexicans. I'm a Mexican.
Mhm,
Um, Um, today I was in Bakersfield. I live in the Bay Area, and today I was in Bakersfield, and I was in a gas station, and I saw these. They look Mexican, but they're red, right? They had that Indian look to them,
mhm,
that Indian hue, um, and I thought that, oh, pues aquí estamos, dude. And I get, again, I'm judging a book by a cover, sue me. But I was like, oh, just Mexican guys in Bakersfield. This is where Mexico's right over there, right? These dudes were talking clean, good English. They were talking about where they were going on vacation. We're going on vacation and we're going hunting over there by the Appalachian Mountains and we're going to go have fun. It's a group, red, but that to them, they reminded me of my dad. And my dad is, he's first generation Chicano. My grandpa was illegal and then got papers here for cleaning bombs during World War II. So that's how my dad, he was born here, right?
mhm,
But that's just first generation, right? These guys that I'm looking at, they must have been seventh, eighth, ninth generation. Still dark skin, but the trucks, the way they're dressed, man, you could tell they came from money, man. They came from money, and that's the kind of thing that I saw. They got to reap those benefits of, like,
mhm.
when America was the time that we needed, or whatever. It was a little more lenient to get your papers or whatever here, and there somebody great grandpa did it. But I'm telling you that, and that's the feeling that I got. Because I'm not rich. I felt like they were way richer than me. I'm not say wealthy or anything like that, but I do see me as the stepping stone for the rest of my generation, right?
Mhm.
I don't have the nice thing, the marvelous things. I got awesome things. I've got just enough. Thank God, right? Um, but I want to build on that, right? I don't want it to just I go and that it went with Christian.
Mhm.
I would like my kids to inherit, and my great grandkids, to each one of them get a house off of pulling out of this house, that kind of stuff. And that's what I was just, when I was looking at these guys talk, it was cool, man. It was cool. And now to think that I was just what, 2, 3 generations away from no more anchor babies is
Mhm.
crazy, and I think as time goes on, because it isn't a norm to for the rest of the world, for an immigrant to come have a baby and that baby gets citizenship. That's not normal anywhere else,
No,
right?
it's not.
But
But
the
you know
farther
what?
we, yeah.
it's a way of thinking too, because if it if someone thinks that that's the only way, they're so
Mhm,
close-minded.
mhm,
There's other ways, of
mhm,
doing it. It's not just it's like cutting in line, and that's what people are upset about, is
mhm,
that it's exactly what it says. It's like you just wanna it's like freeze tag, you wanna run across here and just touch base, and you're like,
mhm.
"Okay, you can't do anything to me now. I've touched base," and then
Yeah,
boom, you drop your anchor and you're set.
yeah, that's and, you know, you embodied that lady's spirit before she even said it. When we and, Gio and I think it was me and Gio kinda defending, kinda joking around about, having a baby born here and that we're gonna pinch the baby and all that. But, yeah, it's yeah.
No, look, that whole guilt thing
Mhm.
is legit, it's real,
Yeah, yeah.
because, we've come from I'm first generation born here,
Mhm.
and
And you're
it
amassing, Danny, I imagine you're amassing for it doesn't stop at just your kids, I'd imagine.
no, I mean, look, I told my dad, because look, they come from a very small town,
Mhm,
and I can only imagine that they feel insufficient in what they were able to provide for us, growing up and stuff like
mhm,
that. Because, they're not blind. They see the things that the
mhm,
friends
mhm,
had, and maybe they weren't able to provide that and stuff like that, but they did provide the most important thing,
mhm.
is, love, um, for me, for our family, spirituality,
Faith.
um, growing up in a house where, you know, um, faith was very important to the family,
Mhm,
and in instilling that, hard work, that ethic, having
mhm.
a good work ethic, and having pride in what you do and things like that, and the importance of family. And I recognize that. So, without, we all talk to our parents, and, in deep conversations, intimate things, feelings, and stuff like that. And I told my dad, and my mom, "Ma, I appreciate you. What you guys did is very brave."
Mhm,
I used the example there where I was like, I could spin a globe and, stop it, and wherever my finger was at, they would survive, no matter where it was in the planet.
mhm,
Because I don't know how many miles away Michoacan is from here, in, the Bay Area where we
yeah,
were grew up, but it's far.
mhm,
Different language. You
mhm.
hardly know anyone. I think my dad was one of the first ones that came over here, and you got to make it. You got to cut it.
Yeah.
And once you make the move, it's not easy just to be like, you know what, I don't like it here. I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna
Yep,
make
well
I'm gonna make a U-turn and go back.
well
So that takes a lot of courage,
mhm,
bravery. So, I told him, and I go, what you did is what you said earlier, is a stepping stone. And I've got responsibility
mhm,
to do better. If I could jump a few levels up,
mhm.
it's all good.
Right.
But,
Don't go
to
down.
no, don't go
Don't
down.
go I don't
No,
wanna go
we don't
down.
want to go
Just a little bit
backwards.
better. I'll be a little bit better than my dad.
Well,
But
it's
you're
not even
always
being
striving. You're always striving, right. Mhm,
better than your parents. I mean, dude, if my parents had what we had growing up, they be different. They'd be in a different place too,
mhm, mhm,
So I appreciate, the sacrifice that they made. And the only thing that I could do so that they have pride in their son is to do well, be a good father, good son, um, and have my kids, because of the sacrifice that they made,
mhm.
go to the next level, like,
Yep.
you're talking about. A lot of people think that, you know the white man, they blame the white man and stuff like
Mhm.
that, and because they don't have opportunities and things of that nature. And we can either bitch about it, agree with it, or whatever we want to do with that, you know however that makes us feel. But my way of thinking is that if someone has an advantage over me, you know my work ethic, things that were instilled in me, my faith, um, the love for the family and pride,
Mhm.
I'm gonna work hard. Someone might be smarter than me and might have a better education than me, but I'm gonna outwork them, and I'm gonna get to that point. And
Mhm.
I've learned things, and I've done things that I couldn't even imagine. I didn't even imagine that I would be doing. And when people say that it's racist, what's happening, and saying that they need people to clean the offices, they need people to go pick, cherries, or whatever you want, you name it, strawberries and all this other stuff,
Because that's all we
and
do.
because that's all we're good for. They're very wrong, man. It's like it's a slap in the face when they say things like that, and we can't lower our standards and allow them to say that about us.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, when are we gonna? I saw this clip from Vivek where he was talking to the Crowder guy,
Mhm.
and he Vivek was telling him, he's like, why is it that I have the courage to say that English should be the national, language, for the United States?
Mhm.
And Crowder goes, because of your skin color. And I love Vivek's answer is that he goes, I'm gonna call bullshit on that, is because it's courage.
Mhm.
And if we don't have the courage to speak up and say the truth, what's happening to us right now, what we just experienced the last 4 years, is exactly what's going to happen, because people are going to speak for us. People are going to go, that's racism.
Mhm.
And then we're just going to look at them and go, okay, well, you're educated, you got a lab coat, you got a degree. You're right. They're
Mhm.
racist
I
against
guess you
us.
are right. Yeah, I
Yeah.
am being oppressed.
And it's like, let's have a little bit of backbone. Let's have some courage, and call it what it is. It's like,
Mhm.
no, I might not, have the background that you have, but I
Mhm.
got two arms, two legs, a heart, a brain,
Mhm.
and I can work my ass off, and I can achieve things. I don't just have to be someone that cleans an office, or, picks, in the farms, in the fields.
Did
That's degrading. That's demeaning.
Why would you wanna continue that, right? But that's just even a subject that they got us talking about. That's that propaganda arm, right? Because I saw a interview with Jake Tapper. He's talking to this, I think a cabinet member for Trump, and he goes, um, they're talking about who got deported. And he brings up, he goes, "Well, can you justify what the economy is going to go through once you get rid of the people that are picking our grades, and all that?" And he goes, "All right, let me get you a fact." He goes, 1% of the people that Biden allowed to come in during his time, 1% work in the field. Yeah, man. So it's again, we're talking, if we're gonna go ahead and bring up, your father's time when he came in and he provided, that's a different type of attitude than. Did you see the guy that took over all those Colorado apartments? They
Mm-mm.
found him in New York. ICE got him in New York. You know, so how is he get? I can't. I've never been to New York, brother. And yeah, I'll show you my bank account. I cannot get to New York right now. Not on a bus. Not if I stick my thumb out. What is that about? But again, we're just weaving in and out, right? Like Trump says. But I'd imagine, you know, all that experience that you said, that we've brought up, that you've brought up, that you have. You know, we started talking about instinct, and I just want to end on that, right? It's almost like a renaissance, right? You can go maybe 25 years and not think of, well, like if you're I've gone to church my entire life. Daniel's dad was our pastor, right? So since I was a kid, I'm the youngest cousin on that side. So I've always been in church, whatever we were, whether we were Christian, Pentecostal, Apostolic, whatever. Um, so I have that. I have all those teachings. I have that moral compass. I'd imagine, and around 25, our church broke up like when I was 15. It lasted 16 years, 15. And when I was 25 years old, I got that, wow, this is a scary world. There is a lot that can go wrong. You got to watch out. Wow, God is so good. I'm so grateful to be alive. This could be worse. Their issues could be mine. I could be like that guy, you know? And it's again that instinct to come back to the Lord, you know,
Yeah,
and s- and find grace. You got to
yeah.
come back, and you do. You do.
Well, dude, if what I went through, the journey that I went through, um, it's nothing crazy. But what's crazy is the similarities that other people go through.
Mhm.
What you experienced. You go through the school system here. It's pulling you away from God.
You see the secularism, just
Yes.
a distance from God. Everything is distant.
So, family unit. Mother is in my family. It was my mother that held the faith in the family, right?
Mhm.
And school system, secularism, you said it, is extracting that. It wants to rip that away.
Mhm.
And they do such a good job at it. It's freaking scary.
Mhm.
So just imagine all the kids that have gone through that,
Mhm.
and how many of them have come back in that cycle. Luckily for me, it never left my heart. I
Mhm.
did question it, but they do a damn good job at messing with your head.
Mhm. Mhm.
And I know we're wrapping up right now, but check this out. We were talking about Mars and all this other stuff. And I didn't even know about this Billy Carson, but they were making a big deal about him. Um, and
Blasphemy.
yeah,
It's
and
all blasphemy.
but you know what the beauty is? Is I guess he was gaining some traction and he was going on these big podcasts and stuff like that
He was
until
on
he,
Joe Rogan.
yeah, yeah, until he met Wes Huff, brother.
Oh, that dude is bad. Yeah, that guy is bad.
So I had to watch it,
Mhm.
and he annihilated him
Yeah.
with calm, rational questions and explanations. And you know how many people are gravitating towards Wes Huff right now?
Also on Joe Rogan.
A lot of people.
Mhm.
So at times you've got these people, Billy Carson's the ones that are good at grabbing those ones that had gone
Mhm.
through the school system and already being pulled into secularism.
Mhm.
And then these Billy Carsons come along, and these demons are just trying to pull them further into
Mhm.
that, you know?
Mhm.
And then there's people like Wes Huff and other people. That's just one example. I'm not,
Yeah.
you know,
No, and
putting him in
the
an
way
altar or anything like that. But then someone comes in like this and then brings the light, baby.
because
Brings the
Danny,
light.
the
And
word is not debatable. It's not.
then you come back into that cycle. It's beautiful, man.
Mhm.
You can
Mhm.
say it's bad, but in my opinion, I don't like to live life with, I don't think anybody should live life with regrets. And
Mhm.
people have gone through some horrible things in their lives. And it's like that saying, someone always has their worst, right? But
Yeah.
um, I it's that instinct that you were talking about. Just to end it, is that the instinct is right here.
Mhm. I'm missing something. What did I have when I was I was going to church. I had a community, you know, I had morals. I was surrounded by people that had morals. You'd hope.
Hmm.
Um, Nowhere is safe, really, you know. But you know, you're in the house of God. It's always good. It's always good, you know. So yeah, man, this is good. This is a good
Yeah,
combo.
yeah, no, I liked it.
At
All right, man.
120. All right, Danny. All right, LFM. Shout out, guys. God be with you. God bless. Um, thank
Peace
you,
be with
guys.
you.